Hello friends, it's Winfred again, and this time round I'm going to be making posho, or what we call cornflour, cornbread, or cornflour, or ugali, whatever it is you call it. In Uganda we call it kawunga. So in case you've been wondering what it looks like, this is how it looks, and these are 2 cups of kawunga or posho, or cornflour or ugali. Now, this is a very nutritious meal, rich in carbohydrates. Many people who work out, this is recommended to use because it's bodybuilding and feeling. Even in schools, many boarding schools in Uganda, this is what we have. But if you've had it before or heard of it before and don't know how it's done, today you're in luck, because we are going to be making it and learning how to make it. For starters, you get your cornflour or posho and then put it in the pan. Now this pan is dedicated to just making cornflour. So you may be surprised, how does the bottom look like? It's dedicated to just doing that. So this is how my pan looks like, and I make according to the size of my family. Now it doesn't stop you from making also according to the size of your family. Now you start off with adding some cold water. This is how I do it. You could put, depending on how much your cornflour is, I won't be strict on cups or measurements. You just add water to whatever measurements you've used of cornflour, cold water, and then mix. This will help keep away crumbs from your posho or ugali or cornbread. You add water and mix until you don't see any crumbs. This is cold water, it's not warm. But for starters, I boiled my water. This will help me get my posho or ugali or cornflour there quickly. Now, because I want to remove all crumbs, all traces of crumbs, I keep on adding until I see no cornflour at all that is crumbly or raw, or not mixed. So you mix until you see that desired consistency where there is no flour visible to the eye, that is not in water. When you've finished mixing it up, have you been to places where it's been served and there's some raw bit of flour in there? It's because they did not use cold water in the start. And that makes it hard for you to eat. If you see raw bits, you're wondering, is my posho or ugali ready? Now, doing it this way will keep away those crumbs. Now that my cornflour is well mixed, I'll make a hole in the middle or well, and then bring in my hot water. Now before, my heat was not on, so I'm turning on the heat so that I can start the preparations of making this cornflour. Now I've turned on the heat, I'm waiting for my pan to heat up, then I add the hot water. Also the hot water you add little by little until you see the desired consistency. Now I've put in my water in the middle. I let it sit. Once it starts boiling, now that is hot water. Once it starts boiling, I get to know that it's working well with my corn. I give it time. Now you can see bubbles starting to form. That means it's starting to work well with my corn flour. Once I see the bubbles, then I start to mix. You will also be able to see the bubbles. Now, as you can see, my water is boiling in the middle. Then I start to mix, gently mixing. Now, you need to be certain your posho is ready, or your ugali is ready, or cornflour is ready, or cornbread, whatever it is you call it. Because I'm not going to put it in the oven, I need to be certain it's really ready. inside and out. No traces of crumbs. Because once it's not properly done, it can give you stomach pain. So you need it ready. So if you've had it before and after eating it, your stomach pained, it's because it wasn't ready when it was served. You see the water has dissolved now. Then I add in more water because all these steps are helping get my posho to where I want it to be. You create a well again in the middle and add more water. This water boiling in there, if it spreads all over, it's assuring me that whatever it is I'm going to eat is ready. See how I've added more water than before? And it's starting to boil. So this time round, I'm going to cover my posho or ugali or cornbread. Ugali is for Kenya, posho is for the English, but in Uganda we call it kawunga. So my kawunga is starting to boil. I will cover it up. Now this will be for a few minutes, like maybe 2 minutes. Now the reason I'm covering is because I'm allowing the steam to ensure that every bit of my posho is ready, so that I don't get stomach pains when I'm eating it. And for that I'll cover and let it sit for about 2 minutes or 3, depending on what you're using to cook. If it's a charcoal stove, if it's a gas because it's steady heat, or cooker, if it's power you're using, it will take a shorter time. Now it does not necessarily mean that the water will dry up. You cover it for the steam to get to the top bits and cook them as well. So that's what I'm doing now, and I'll be checking in a few minutes. Now it is time to check on our posho, see how it's doing. Now with this, I'm assured my posho is ready because I covered it up and allowed the steam to have its time. Now, for those of you who want to mix up your posho or ugali or kawunga and make it a bit colorful or twist it up a bit, if you are going to make it, you can add some curry to it to give it color. You can add some chili in there to give it that kick. But in my case, I'm not going to add anything because I'm trying to show you how it's done in Uganda the normal way. Other people add some butter when it's nearly there. You can add some butter when it's dried up. You see, like we added water, a lot of it. But now it has dried up. And what is left, I allow myself to mix until it dries up. When it dries up, my mingling stick, this one, will be dry and not sticky. That way I'm assured for sure it is ready. As you can see, it's not a hard thing to do for those of you who are left at home, and all that there is in the house is posho or flour or cornflour or ugali, as you call it, or kawunga, and you have no clue as to how to make it. These are the very few steps that you do to make this at home and have yourself a meal and not go starving. Now, like I said, the size of your ugali, posho, or cornbread or kawunga depends on how many people are going to be served. If you have quite a number of people, you go putting in more and more cups of cornflour or posho. But if you're just 2 people, you could use half a cup. If you're 4, you could use a whole cup. If you're 6, you just go doubling. Half kilo should be enough for 3 people. And a kilo should be enough for 6 people. So there you have it. If you're few at home, You could use your measurements that way. And as for the water, you could use 1 liter of water, boil it up, and then do the first steps we did, and keep on adding slowly but covering. Because I covered mine, I'm assured it's ready, but the reason I'm still mingling is because I want it to be soft, and then I want it also to dry up a bit, so that that water that I added is not too still in there. It has to be a bit dry, because when I put it on the plate, my posho will come out soft. I like my posho soft. Many people would from here steam it. I'm not going to steam. So what I did, they steam it in banana leaves. This gives it that leafy smell, the aroma that you always find in the posho served in restaurants, in Ugandan restaurants. But if you just cover it with the cover like I did, that is also one way of steaming, though it won't come off with those aromas that come from the leaves. But it will still be equally soft, equally ready, and tasty. Normally posho is tasteless, so the things we add to it are the ones that give it taste. So if here I chose to add some butter, this would be the right time to add my butter. If I chose to add black pepper, this would be a good time. But for the curries, it would have been that time when I added water, so that the curry mixes up very well and gives it that yellow color. And many people at this stage would put it in the oven, which I'm not going to do today. Putting it in the oven would ensure it's dried up. Now I'm putting mine here and making more of a mountain out of it, because as it's cooking, you will see it will raise itself up. When it's raising itself up, it's trying to dry up. And when I try to flip it on a plate, it will just get out of the pan without sticking. Why? Because it's ready and the water has dried up a bit. You can even smell the ladle, the ladle, and see if you smell rawness of flour, because you can smell it before you prepare and then smell it as you're preparing. You definitely smell the difference. Now, viewers, thank you for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe and like. But I'm going to show you how I'll plate my posho. For those of you who are new viewers, please do not forget to like, subscribe, so that as and when a new video is dropped in, you're able to pick on it. And it will also make me glad that you subscribe, because then I know that whatever I'm making is loved, and I'll be encouraged to make some more. Now my posho is ready, because as you can see, it's drier than before. Now the rest of it, the hardening bit, will be on my plate. But the people that I'm serving would prefer this served when it's not so hard. So it depends on the kind of people you're making your meal for. It is best to be when it is soft, so that it hardens on the plate. But it's also not too good when it's very, very hard. It needs to be like soft enough and easy to eat. Now, because mine is ready, I'll get a plate and put on top. Then I flip over. Now, I've put a plate at the bottom and flipped over my posho or ugali. Let's see how it looks inside. Now, this is what I'm talking about. See how it looks? Now, my pan looks like this because it assures me that it got ready. Now, I'll put my pan on the side. I can let my posho or ugali rest for some time before serving, so it hardens a bit, or I can serve right away like I'm going to do now. I can slice off a bit. And then cover the rest for serving later. Now this is the plating of my ugali. I'm going to serve it with silverfish. Now, you could serve it with any other sauce at home, but if you are wondering where the silverfish came from, if you have watched my previous videos, you would see how we made this silver fish that is going to be the accompaniment for my sauce, for my ugali. I made silver fish. This can go very well. It's normally served like this. And those who have tasted it before, this is irresistible. And by the time you're done eating, you're filled up and all you want is to just chill, or you are energized to do other things. Now that's my... Now, before I finish presenting my plate, I'll need some garnishing. I'll need just a few, because I need my plate to have some bit of green. This will make my food more appetizing. Leave around the aromas that would come out of my food. Now, that's enough of my green pepper. I don't need too much. Then I'll chop up some oatmeal. Remember, all these should be washed. Otherwise, they could give you some serious food poisoning. So you chop up just some small oatmeal. That should be enough. And then I'll garnish my plate and make it more presentable. Now, after cutting up my garnishes, this is how I would present my plate. This is ugali, or what many call posho or kawunga in Uganda, with silverfish. You are welcome to use any other sauce you have at home. If it's chicken, if it is beef stew, if it is liver, whatever it is that you have, or beans, or peanuts. But as for today, this is what we made. And for those of you wondering about the silverfish and how it's done, look up our previous videos. You should be able to see how silverfish is prepared, or the beef stew that we made, and use it as an accompaniment for your posho or ugali. Thank you for watching. Remember, subscription is free. Please subscribe for those of you that have not, so that you can be able to get the videos as and when they come in. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.